God almighty.
There's nothing I fear. You are safe in my heart and my heart.
This is it! Hold on! Do not let go of my hand!
Well, John Landau, under your helm as a producer, and Jim, obviously, supervision, Titanic was obviously turned and converted into 3D. So how extensive and how expensive was the whole process, as I'm talking to the producer?
The process of converting Titanic was very extensive and very detailed. It took us 60 weeks to convert the process. We looked at every frame on a frame-by-frame basis. We looked at every object in those frames and placed them in three-dimensional depth. So it was very painstaking. It's not an inexpensive process. We have over 300 people working for us currently at Stereo D, and we're going to spend approximately $18 million US to convert the film.
Why did you feel it was the right time to re-release a timeless Titanic?
You know, we felt the timing was such that 15 years removed from the release, that there's a whole new generation of movie-going audiences who will want to see it up on the big screen. They might have seen it at home, but they haven't experienced it on the big screen. That, combined with the centenary of the sinking, brought us to 2012.
Granted, all right. Well, now you've collaborated with James for about almost 20 years. I want to know how you, quote-unquote, function and tick together.
You know, I think that a working relationship that has lasted as long as Jim and mine has, it's a little bit like a marriage. You know, you have your good days, you have your great days, and you have your days where there's conflict, but you know at heart that you both have each other's best interests at heart. And you both have a personal caring for each other, and I think that's what we've been able to develop. And I'm thrilled to have had the opportunity to work with Jim, who I think is the most extraordinary filmmaking talent that we have.
On this particular project, I mean, was his vision, his Titanic dream, sort of a guiding force for you as a producer and as a friend?
I think that, you know, Jim's vision for this movie, Titanic, was inspiring. I think that Jim found a way to reach into our souls in the script and rip our souls out. And then he had the vision to produce this movie in an old-fashioned Hollywood way. And that was really exciting to walk with him through that process and to be whatever little assistance I could.
When you said little assistant, I mean, you assisted him a lot. I mean, were there scenes where really also your vision got into Jim's?
You know, look, Jim is the auteur of his movies. I think it is a producer's responsibility to at times be the devil in the ear and the angel in the air. And I think that there were times where I've done that and ultimately might lay a seed that Jim then lets grow into an idea, and I'll be able to look at a sequence and go, gee, maybe, just maybe, I was a little bit of a seed that helped that.
Well, Avatar obviously changed the film industry altogether and really made 3D recognize the creative process. As such, how did you decide how much or how little 3D to put in the scenes?
For us, the evolution of how much 3D or not to put into a scene is all about storytelling. 3D should not be noticed. You shouldn't be sitting there watching and noticing a scene. How do you let 3D enhance the scene, but in an invisible way? The best use of technology is when nobody notices the technology.
Even though you didn't change one frame from the original, did you give new meaning or new depth to certain scenes thanks to 3D, and which ones in particular?
You know, while we didn't change anything in Titanic, the cut or anything, I think the 3D experience is going to change it for moviegoers. I think they're going to feel like it's something they've never seen and experience it in a different way. It's going to actually put people on the ship and to have more intimacy with Kate and Leo as they go through their story.
I mean, did James Cameron's style, I mean, he always shoots with sense of depth, actually help the conversion process?
Well, one of the things that Jim has commented is that the way he shot Titanic with the wide lenses, with these other things, lends itself very much to 3D, that he would have shot it the same way had he done it in 3D. And that is enabling us very, comfortably to go into the 3D conversion process.
I have to ask you this iconic I'm flying shot of Jack and Rose, were you or James afraid to, quote unquote, spoil it for us? What does 3D bring to that particularly iconic visual?
I think there are a number of iconic visuals in the film, one of them being Jack and Rose on the bow of the ship. Everybody that I have spoken to, they felt that the 3D has enhanced that experience, that it puts them in that moment. They feel the height of them on the bow, which you never really could before. They feel the intimacy of their fingers intertwining together. And I think that's what 3D is all about.
You're telling, therefore, that 3D is about emotion, about close-ups then?
Movies are about close-ups, and 3D is about close-ups. 3D is about creating a more voyeuristic experience, to let you have the sense that you're in that same moment with the actors.
You just used the word voyeuristic. So as a voyeur of the film, which scene did you feel closest to, the most voyeuristic approach?
Well, I think there's a great scene in the film where they're in the gymnasium together, and Jack is imploring Rose to get out of her cocoon and become that butterfly. It's a very private moment, but the 3D puts me in the gymnasium with them, and it heightens the drama of that scene.
Well, both Avatar and Titanic carry very universal human messages. The metaphors of Titanic just keep repeating, it seems, through history. Last question. Aren't we all feeling too big to fail and in a boat going too fast towards an iceberg?
Well, I think, movies can be great metaphors for the world in which we live. I think Titanic represented a kind of metaphor in 1997, and I think it's a different kind of metaphor now, where the world is, where are we heading as a world? Where is our sustainability? How are we going to keep this Earth alive? We have an iceberg in front of us, and if we don't change our course, we are doomed to hit it. We have time. We can react. If there's anything to be learned from Titanic, we have to take action to avoid the iceberg.
Thank you very much.
Not
I
again.
think we did it, huh? We approached many different things in 8 minutes thanks to you. No, but I think,
No, thanks to you.